Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. In this video I am going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is minimalism. Specifically, I'm going to talk about minimalism versus organization and decluttering. Now I think that these organization and decluttering, these are topics that a lot of people are interested in. I drive around and I can see why. Like, people leave their garage open, you drive by people in these neighborhoods and they got the garage door up and you're looking in there and there's no car fitting in there in the garage, which is what the garage is supposed to be for. Originally, I think it was intended for a place to park your car, because it's like Tetris in there with all of the stuff. And I can only imagine that a lot of the houses, the living portion of them, are also in a similar state, and the garage has just become like the overflow zone. And I used to have a kind of a similar thing going on in my life, but fortunately I finally came to the realization, after years of struggling in this like unwinnable battle against my stuff to try to organize it, I finally realized that the key, at least for me, and I think probably a lot of other people, because I think human beings, as far as our ability to cope and manage like things, you're only one person. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much time that you have to deal with things, or do things and experience stuff in your life. I think that for most people it's kind of the same, is that the key is not to try to organize all of your stuff. It's to minimize your stuff, to get rid of a lot of that shit. Because probably a lot of it is not serving any legitimate purpose in your life. And in fact, it may be detracting from your life. I know I am not alone in this, in the feeling of having all this stuff and just feeling like it's just like pressing in on you, like your house is supposed to be a haven, a place where you go and you can restore your energy and yourself, and you can feel at peace and tranquil. It's kind of your little refuge from the world. So when you go to it, you just shouldn't feel like, and that like all it does is make you look around and think, oh, I should be doing this, where is this? You can't find anything. You just feel oppressed by the clutter, and you can't find a free surface. Everywhere you look, there's all of this stuff, and it's so overwhelming that you don't feel like you can ever deal with it. And the craziest part is that we have done this to ourselves. For my part, all of the stuff that I had, nobody brought that shit over to my house and dumped it out, and I didn't come home and like, oh my gosh, the stuff fairy was here and left all this. No, the large portion of it I brought there. I went out into the world and I made effort to acquire this stuff, and I brought it back to my realm. And I don't know why I did that exactly. I think that maybe, we're sort of conditioned from the time that we're born to be consumers, because we live in a consumeristic society, and that's a topic for a whole nother video. So you're trying to find meaning, maybe, perhaps, in your life, and attain like satisfaction and happiness and joy and these things that, that everybody wants to feel, through the attainment of stuff. And I'm not going to deny that, when you buy stuff, and this is proven, I mean, they've done studies on it too, that you get a little rush, when you buy that object, when you get a new thing, whatever it is, regardless of whether it's like something that's actually functional or not. Like, I mean, have you seen these plastic Solo cups that they're selling now? Like the disposable Solo cup, but these aren't disposable. They're like cups, that you keep and use over and over again, but they look like a disposable cup. I mean, there's people that have plenty of cups, but they saw that in the store and they're like, oh, I want, anyway, somebody got really rich or is getting rich off of selling non-disposable cups that look like disposable cups, which is strange to me. But anyway, the stuff like that, these are gimmicky things that, is people buy stuff on impulse a lot, and it's like the little jolt of adrenaline or whatever, a little dopamine hit that you get when you get something new. So as human beings, I think that we have a tendency to be sucked into that. So I guess that's how it happened to me. I was just, I got sucked into it. I started doing these things, and what happened with me is that it became a mess. Like, I can't keep all that shit organized. It's too much. When I have too much stuff, I am a person who, I've got a lot of interests, and I've got a lot of things that I do every day, a lot of things that I participate in life, a lot of activities and stuff, and that doesn't leave much time for spending a couple of hours a day decluttering and organizing my stuff. So for me, the answer and the solution and the thing that wins hands down over trying to organize and declutter all the crap is to get rid of all the crap in the first place, and then I don't have to organize it. I don't have to declutter it. Life is still happening in my house. I live here. It's not a museum, and it's not a staged photo shoot, for Home and Gardens magazine. So, like, stuff is happening in there, and flat surfaces, they get stuff placed on top of them, and things get taken out and used, and but because I have overall way less things, and most of the stuff that I do have that does get taken out and placed out of its normal storage area, is because it has a use and a function, and I'm using it, and when I'm done using it, I can put it back away pretty quickly because I don't have a lot of stuff. And then there's not all this extra stuff that really doesn't have a purpose, but it's just like, I like to call it life dander, but it's like, all the little knickknacks and doodads and lighters that, light up, and little flashlighty things, and cups, and picnic this, and holiday decorations, and all of that mess, that stuff, that's kind of things that I used to have some of, and I think a lot of houses do have these little collections of things like that they end up everywhere, and it's too much. You've got to deal with the things that really are functional in your life, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, and you should be. You should be using those things, and you should be spending your time on stuff that has legitimate purpose in your life. But it's all that extra little stuff that, because we're an affluent society, at least here in the West, where I am speaking to you from, we've got, disposable income, and a lot of this stuff is real cheap to buy because it's made by repressed, almost slave-like people in other countries where they don't have the same good system of payment and stuff like we do. So the goods can be made for really, 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 really cheap, shipped all the way across oceans, and still you can go and buy, like, for instance, Dave and I were at Home Depot the other day, and there was like this umbrella, really nice umbrella, huge, big umbrella, how much was it? I think it was like less than $5 or something, $2.99 or something for this umbrella. It's like, if I wanted to make an umbrella, I couldn't even make an umbrella to gather all the parts and stuff. Like, I know that, I understand how it works. I used to do some kind of manufacturing stuff and worked in a manufacturing type environment, and it's, mass production. But, my point is, is that this stuff is made really, really, really cheaply so that they can sell it really cheaply so that you can justify it because you're like, oh, well, it doesn't cost that much. I can afford it. It's an impulse buy a lot of times. So you end up dragging all this stuff home. I did it. I'm guilty. And so there it is then. And now you're like, and it's just like, it's... you got to deal with that stuff, and then it's filling up all the space in your home, and pretty soon your home doesn't feel like a tranquil, wonderful place that you want to be. It feels like some sort of a prison where you look around and all you see is work for yourself, trying to organize this crap. Anyway, so I guess the point of this video is that to heck with all of these books and all this stuff and all these little shoeboxes and labels and stuff that you're supposed to put all your stuff into so you can be organized and rein in your clutter. Get rid of all of that crap in the first place. Keep only what you need, what's really meaningful to you. And guess what? A lot of the problems with having to be worrying about organizing and stuff, that's just going to go away, because when you have less, the organization and stuff, it just kind of comes more naturally. Anyway, I know I'm not alone in this. I know there are people out there who are hearing what I'm saying, and they know what I'm talking about. They know that feeling of kind of like stress about, and it's just so overwhelming to them. They don't know where to begin. I started out really slow. I picked up speed as I went along, and I gave myself a lot of breaks. Like, I would go on these eBay listing marathons and stuff. If you're trying to get rid of stuff and you have a lot of things that have some value and you don't just want to throw them away or give them away or whatever, you list the stuff on eBay. It's very time consuming, this eBay thing, and you got to learn all the ropes, how it works and everything. I'd go on like these marathons where I'd just list and I'd get really motivated and I'd do a lot, and then I get burned out on it kind of, and I just say, I don't want to do it. So I'd let myself have a break, but I didn't quit. I took a break. I got my batteries recharged and everything, and during the time that I'm taking the break, I was very committed to not going back to my old ways, to reaccumulating stuff. I was putting the brakes on all that. And then when I felt ready to do it again, I went at it, and I chipped away at it, slowly but surely, and steady and consistent to the finish line, and you keep going, it's going to happen. It may take a couple of years, depending on how much stuff you have. It took me years, and I'm still doing it. I still have a lot of stuff that I would like to get rid of. There are things in my life right now that I have in my life because of the way I live, my lifestyle and stuff, but if I change my lifestyle and there's certain things that I'm not doing anymore, definitely going to purge those items from my life because they're not needed anymore. So anyway, it's a constant process, and I think it's personal, but spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to organize all of your stuff without addressing the root problem, which is like too much stuff, and keeping in the inflow that just keeps coming in, where you're like more is coming in and not so much going out. That's the root of the problem that you're having, of why you can't stay organized. And it doesn't matter how many plastic shoebox things you buy or how many books and blogs you read on how to be organized. At least for me anyway, it was never going to happen. I was just going to be like beating myself. It's like hitting your head against a wall and wondering, like, why is my head hurt? So anyway, that's all I have to say about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think, what your experience is, where you're at on your little journey with this. And we'll talk to you later.